You guys requested this, so today I'll be showing you how to set up a Minecraft server with plugins or mods on Ubuntu Server. First, I'll be going over installing Ubuntu Server in case you haven't seen my video where I show you how to set up a vanilla Minecraft server on Ubuntu Server. And then I'll be going over setting up a Minecraft server with Spigot, which is what we're going to be using to load our plugins. And then I'll be showing you how to set up a Minecraft server with Forge, which we're going to use to load the mods. Now, unfortunately, because of the way plugins and mods are implemented on Minecraft servers, you can't have both plugins and mods installed at once. You must choose one or the other. And I personally prefer plugins for Minecraft servers, and that's because, unlike with mods, plugins don't also need to be installed on the client side for them to work. Now, one more thing before we start with this video. If you set this up on a PC that you have at home, although your Minecraft server will be accessible to other PCs on your local network, by default, your server won't be accessible over the internet. If you want your server to be open to the internet, you'll need to go into your router settings and configure port forwarding, which I covered in this video. But without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, so now you're going to go to your web browser and then go to ubuntu.com/download/server, and then click this download link for Ubuntu Server, which will give you the latest LTS version of Ubuntu Server, which at the time of shooting this video is 22.04.1 LTS. Now I've already downloaded this file. I've got a VM set up with it, but I haven't already installed Ubuntu Server on this VM, so we're going to do it together. And by the way, I'm doing this in a virtual machine, but the behavior and everything will be the same as if it were on a physical machine. Only thing is you would need to flash this ISO to a flash drive and then boot from the flash drive on your server machine. And by the way, I've made a video on how to do that. I'll link it up in the card. But anyway, let's go start up this VM and start the process of configuring our server. We're going to try or install Ubuntu Server. All right, and then on the first screen, we're going to select our language, which for me is English. And depending on when you're doing this, there might actually be an update to the Ubuntu Server installer. So let's go install that update real quick. All right, now we're going to select our keyboard layout, which for me is English US, and we're just going to do the standard Ubuntu Server installation. And if you're doing this on bare metal, I would recommend doing search for third-party drivers. You can just hit the enter key to select that, or the spacebar, and then hit done, and then it'll go fetch our network, assuming you have this connected via Ethernet. If you're connecting over Wi-Fi, I made a video on how to do that, which I'll link up in the card. But anyway, for this video, I'm just going to be using DHCP, since this is only a temporary server that I'm setting up just for demonstration purposes. But since I'd recommend setting up a static IP for your server, I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to come up here and then edit IPv4. In our case, we only really need to worry about IPv4, and then we're going to change this from automatic DHCP to manual. And then for subnet, you're going to have to put it in CIDR form, which for most people, this is 192.168.0 or 1.0/24. And the /24 represents a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. And by the way, you can check this against another device that's connected to your network. And for this, you only need to worry about the first 3 parts of your IP address. Well, for most people anyway. And then for address, you're going to put in the IP address that you want your server to have. For example, 192.168.1.2, or it might be 192.168.0.2. And you're going to want to go into your router settings and check to make sure that this IP address isn't already being used. And then once you've done that, once you've set up your server's IP address, be sure to go into your router settings and reserve this IP address for your server in order to exclude it from being handed out by DHCP. And then for gateway, for most people, that's going to be 192.168.0 or 1.1. Again, you can check this with another device that's already connected to your network. And names servers, I just like to do 1.1.1.1 and 1.0.0.1, which is Cloudflare's public DNS. And search domains, I just leave blank. And then once this all looks good, we can hit save. Now I'm going to hit cancel, since for this configuration I'm just going to be using DHCP. And by the way, you can find your netmask here when it is set to DHCP, or at least what you want to put after the slash. But anyway, I'm going to hit done. Proxy address, you can leave blank. Mirror address, just leave that default. And then here, we can use an entire disk. Now be sure this drive has nothing on it that you need, because it will be erased. And then I would actually uncheck set up this disk as an LVM group, just to simplify our partition layout, because we're not going to be doing anything that would need LVM. And now I'm going to hit done. And yep, this looks good, so I'm going to hit done again. And again, make sure that this drive that you are installing Ubuntu Server on has nothing on it that you need, because it will be erased once you hit continue. But this is just a blank virtual machine disk, so I'm just going to hit continue. And now this is where we set up our account on our server, which we're going to be using to administer the server. So for name, I'm just going to put in Drew Howden. And then for server's name, I'm going to call it Minecraft-server. It has to be all one word, all lowercase. And then for username, I'm going to do Drew. Again, this has to be all one word, all lowercase. And then I'm going to go set a password real quick. And now once this all looks good, we're going to hit done. And I would install OpenSSH server, so that way you can work from a terminal on another computer, which would be helpful because you're going to want to copy and paste in a few URLs during this process. And as well, this will allow you to more easily transfer files from your computer to the server. But anyway, I'm going to hit done. And because this is a virtual machine, there are no third-party drivers available for it. I'm going to hit continue. And we don't need any of these snaps, so I'm going to tab and hit done. And then it'll go install Ubuntu Server for us. So now this will take a while, so I'll speed this up. Alright, so now that our installation is done, we're going to reboot the server, and then when this pops up, we're going to hit enter. Alright, and then once we get into our server, we're going to log in real quick using our username and password that we set up on installation. And I can see that it has some updates to install. I'll get everything updated now. I'm going to first do a sudo apt update to check for updates, and then a sudo apt upgrade to actually get them installed. Then I'm going to hit Y and then enter, and then this will go install updates. Alright, and I'm just going to hit enter here. Alright, now it looks like our updates are done. So what I'm going to do now is set up the firewall by doing sudo ufw enable. Okay, perfect. Our firewall is active and enabled on startup. So now I'm going to go open a couple of ports here. The ports we need are ports 22 and 25565 for our SSH and Minecraft server, respectively. And by the way, if you're planning on setting up port forwarding on your router to open this up to the internet, I wouldn't open up your SSH to the internet, just your Minecraft server, unless you know how to secure your SSH server properly. But anyway, first I'm going to do sudo ufw allow 22/tcp for our SSH server, and then sudo ufw allow 25565 TCP for our Minecraft server. There we go. So now let's log out, and now we can switch to our terminal. So once you're at your terminal window, you're going to type SSH, your username, and this is your username on the server, not your username on your computer, at your server's IP address, which in my case is 192.168.1.152, then hit enter. And then for your first time connecting, it'll give you this prompt. Just type yes, exactly like that. And then it'll prompt you for your password on the server, again, not on your computer. And now we're in. And by the way, while I'm doing this from a Linux PC, this will work on a Windows PC as well. All right, so now let's actually get to configuring our Minecraft server. The very first thing I'm going to do is do mkdir Minecraft spigot server. This is going to be my plugin Minecraft server, and then cd into that directory. And by the way, I'll have all these commands in the description. All right, so now what we're going to do is navigate to spigot.mc.org, and now we're going to go to downloads, click on spigot/build tools, and then look for this buildtools.jar, right click on it, and then copy the link, and then we'll come back to our terminal, and then do a wget, and then paste in that link. Then hit enter, and then it'll go download the buildtools.jar. Now, I'm keeping my web browser open because we will need it again. So now what we're going to do is install Java on our server by doing sudo apt install open jdk 17 jre, then hit enter, then punch in our password, then hit enter again, and then it'll go install Java on our server real quick. All right, and then I'm going to hit enter again here. All right, now we can go run our build tools file by doing java-jre build tools.jar. And by the way, if you want an earlier version of Minecraft, you would do --rev, and then the version of Minecraft that you want, for example 1.12.2. In my case, I can remove that since I want the latest version, which at the time of shooting this video is 1.19.3. Oh, sorry, it's java-jar buildtools.jar. And again, if you want a different version of Minecraft, just do rev and then the version number. But anyway, I'm gonna hit enter with this, which will give me the latest version of Minecraft server, which is 1.19.3 at the time of shooting this video. And by the way, if it complains that you need a different version of Java, you go run the apt install openjdk command again, but then for the number, just replace 17 with whatever version number it needs. Like, for example, if it needs 19, you do openjdk-19-jre. But anyway, I'm going to go let this do its thing. This will actually take a while, so I'll speed this up. All right, and then once that's finally done, it does actually take quite a while. Now we can do an ls in our Minecraft spigot server directory and find the rest of our files. And by the way, I'm going to rename this spigot 1.19.3.jar to just server.jar. To do this, we can do mv, and then we can just copy and paste in this file name, and then just do server.jar, then do another ls. There we go. And by the way, you can go delete this buildtools.jar by doing rm, copy that file name, buildtools.jar, then hit enter. And then if we do ls again, it's gone. So now what we got to do is boot up our Minecraft server by doing java-xmx2g, which tells it to never use more than 2 gigs of RAM. You can vary this depending on how much RAM your server has. In general, you want to leave at least 2 gigs of headroom for Ubuntu Server to run, and you will want to increase this if you have other server applications besides your Minecraft server running. But anyway, now we're going to do -xms1g to tell it to start out using 1 gig of RAM. I would just keep this as a constant. And then -jar server.jar. And of course, this will vary depending on what you've called your server.jar file. And then no GUI to tell it to not try to start a graphical user interface, because since we have no desktop environment on this server, if it tries to start up a GUI, it'll just crash. But anyway, now we can hit enter, and then it will fail to start because we need to agree to the EULA. To do that, just do nano EULA .txt, and then change this EULA equals false sign to EULA equals true. Then hit Control X, Y, enter to save. And now we can go run our server command again. But before I do, I'm just going to show you that now we have more files, including our server.properties file, where you can configure options for your server, like maximum players, if you want to whitelist, the server's name that you want displayed on the multiplayer screen to players that have added to your server. But anyway, now let's go get plugins for this. And a good place to find plugins is a website called curseforge.com. And this is also a good place to find mods for a Forge server. So we're going to go to Minecraft on here. And then for a plugin server, you're going to want to do bucket plugins. And a good plugin to have on your server is World Edit. So let's go get that. We can go click download here, and then we're going to go download this file. And by the way, if you try to download the file through wget directly to your server, it'll give you a 403 forbidden error for some dumb reason. I'm really not sure why that is. So to work around that, we actually have to download this file to our computer via our regular web browser. If you're on a Linux system, you can connect to the server via your file manager. What we can do is go down to here, and by the way, this will vary depending on your file manager. But anyway, I'm going to do SSH : my server's IP address, which is 192.168.1.152. Then hit enter, and then it'll ask for the username and password. And again, this is the username and password on our server, not on our own computer. Then we're going to click connect, and it may or may not take you straight into the home folder. If it doesn't, and it just boots you to the root directory, just go to home, your username, which unless you've added more users since installing, that'll be the only folder there. And then this is where we're going to find our Minecraft Spigot server directory that we created. And if you don't already have a plugins folder, which it appears that we do not, we're going to have to create it. So we're going to just create a new folder called plugins, exactly like that, all lowercase. And then this is where we're going to go put our plugins. So what I'm going to do is take this jar file that I've just downloaded and then put it into our plugins folder, just like that. And now you can go delete it from your computer. And now we can come back to our server and then run the server command again. And then this time it should actually go boot up your server and load the World Edit plugin that we've just added. All right, so now once your server is finally started up, for me, that actually took a while. As you can see here, 306 seconds, which is just barely over 5 minutes. And by the way, the first startup will actually take a while because it has to actually go create the world. The next startups should be much quicker, but just know that it's not an instantaneous thing. But anyway, once your server is started up, now you should be able to connect to it from any computer on your local network that's running Minecraft. I'm assuming you know how to do that, just in the server address field, put in your server's IP address. But anyway, a great thing to do, especially if this is your first time running a Minecraft server, is use the help command to get a list of all the commands. And you can look up what each of these are, but I'll go over a few of them. But anyway, we can run plugins, and we can see that World Edit is installed and running. And then we can use the default game mode command to change our game mode to, for example, creative mode. It's actually survival by default. Well, I think it has to be lowercase. Yes, it is actually picky about case, just so you know. But anyway, now that I've punched that in correctly, the default game mode is now creative mode. And if you're wanting to change this for players that are already logged into your server, just do game mode, your desired game mode, in my case creative, @A, which @A tells the server to change the setting for everyone on the server. and then hit enter. Now I have no players on the server, so it's just gonna give me no player was found, but I think you get the idea. If you wanted a whitelist on your server, which is a good idea for a server that you have open to the internet, but you intend for just you and your friends to connect to, what you can do is do whitelist on to enable the whitelist, and then to add a player, just do whitelist add the name of the player that you want to add, and I'll just use my Minecraft username as an example. Yep, added my Minecraft username to the whitelist. And if you want to remove a player from the whitelist, just do whitelist remove the Minecraft username of the player that you want to remove from the whitelist. Again, I'm using my Minecraft username as an example, but just hit enter, and yeah, it removed my Minecraft username from the whitelist. And if you wanted to turn the whitelist off, just do whitelist off. Now, if you're wanting to ban players, just do ban and then the Minecraft username. Again, I'll use my Minecraft username as an example. Yep, it banned me from the Minecraft server. If you wanted to unban a player, you would use the pardon command along with the Minecraft username of the player that you want to unban. And yep, I just unbanned myself from this server. Now you can also do this based on IP by just using the ban-ip command and the pardon-ip command for banning and unbanning IP addresses respectively. And by the way, if you wanted to post a message to everyone on the server, just use the say command and then the message that you want to post, and then it'll post that to everyone. And if you just wanted to send a message to a specific player, you would do MSG, the Minecraft username of the player that you want to message, and then your message. Now, I got no player was found because, again, I'm not on the server, but I think you get the idea. And last but not least, if you want to stop the server, just use the stop command. Give it a second to save your world and kick everyone off. And then once the server's stopped, it should bring you back to the regular Linux shell. So do get familiar with Minecraft server commands, both commands that are on the vanilla Minecraft server, as well as the commands that are provided by any plugins or mods that you may have installed, because that's the primary way in which you're going to be administering your server. But anyway, now I'm going to show you how to set up a Minecraft server with mods. So what I'm going to do is go back to my home folder, which you can do from anywhere by just typing cd tilde. Okay, now we're back in our home folder. So now I'm going to mkdir Minecraft forge server, and then this is where we're going to put our modded server. So now we're going to pop back over to our web browser and then go to files.minecraftforge.net. And by the way, I'll have all the links in the description. And then you can go select the version of Minecraft Forge that you want here. In my case, I'm going to get the latest, which is 1.19.3 at the time of shooting this video. And then I would go for the recommended installer. Just go to installer, click on that, and then it'll bring you to an ad for server hosting. Once this skip button appears, we can just right click on it, copy the link. All right, so now before you do anything else, don't forget to cd into your Minecraft Forge server directory. Otherwise, you'll make a mess of your home folder, which you don't want. It's just not good practice. But anyway, now that we're in our Forge server directory, we're going to do a wget, paste in that link, and then hit enter. And now we're going to do java-jar, and then we can copy and paste the file name for our Forge installer, and then -- install server, exactly like that, no spaces. Now, this part is important because if you don't have this, the Forge installer will try to start a GUI, which it can't do on this server because it has no desktop environment, which will cause it to crash before it actually does anything. But anyway, we're going to hit enter, and then it'll go set up our modded Minecraft server. And then once our Forge installer finishes setting up our modded Minecraft server, which this doesn't take nearly as long as our Spigot build tools did. We can now do an ls in our Forge server directory. And by the way, we can go delete this file by doing rm, paste in the file name of our Forge installer, and then hitting enter. And now what we're going to do is nano user jvm args.txt, which we can copy and paste from up here. And then it actually already gives us a maximum amount of RAM to use, which by default is 4 gigabytes. Now that's all the RAM I have on this server, so I'm going to want to change that to 2 gigs. But anyway, now I'm going to do -xms 1g, which again tells it to start out using 1 gig of RAM, then Control X, Y, enter to save, and then I'm going to do a nano run.sh, and then come over here and then add no GUI to this in order to tell Minecraft server to not try to start a GUI, because if it does that, it's gonna crash. Because again, we have no desktop environment on this server. But anyway, we're gonna hit Control X, Y, enter to save once more. And now we can just do a /run.sh, which will then go run our modded server with those parameters that we just inserted. And again, it'll fail because we need to agree to the EULA. Same principle, just do nano eula.txt, change this from false to true, Control X, Y, enter to save. And now we have a mods folder. But anyway, we'll do our run.sh again. And this time it should successfully boot up our server. Actually, before I do, I want to just quickly add in the mods. To do that, I'm just going to add in these mods, which I just happen to have lying around in my Minecraft mods directory. And by the way, the mods that you have on your server will need to match what's on each of your players' computers, and obviously they would need to have Forge installed in order to connect. But anyway, I'm gonna connect to my server through my file manager, which I already am. Again, for this file manager on Ubuntu, you just do ssh:// your server's IP address, and then we're gonna navigate to the home folder, and then our Minecraft Forge server directory, then go to the mods folder, and then just paste in our mods. And now we can go do our run.sh again, and then this time it'll actually go boot up our Minecraft Forge server, and it should also load those mods that we just added in. Alright, and it should have just created our server.properties file, which again is where we can configure settings for the server, like maximum players, whether or not we have a whitelist. And actually, I should also mention that this is where you can configure your default game mode. And then it'll go create our world, which this will take a while, so I'll speed this up. Alright, so now that our Forge server is finally started, we can go connect to that on another computer that's on our local network and running Minecraft. And if I use the Forge mods command, we can see that, yep, those mods that I threw into the mods folder are loaded. And by the way, CurseForge is a really great resource to find mods for Minecraft. If you just go to mods instead of bucket plugins, since that doesn't apply to our Forge server. Same principle, you just download the .jar file and then throw it in your server's mods folder. But anyway, it looks like I am done with this video, so I am going to stop my server, give it a second to save, and kick everyone off. Not that I have anyone connected to this server. And then once I get back to my Linux shell, I'm going to do a sudo power off, punch in my password, which will then close the connection and then power off this server. Like right now I'm back at my computer's terminal. As you can see, I'm not on my server anymore, which means that I can close out the terminal, and it looks like my VM stopped, so we are done. And by the way, if you wanted to just restart the server, you would use the sudo reboot command. And that's how to set up a Minecraft server with plugins or mods on Ubuntu Server. So thanks for watching. If you liked this video, found it was helpful, hit the like button, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment.